There is a moment that comes without announcement. You are sitting in ordinary light or walking through familiar rooms, and suddenly the air changes. Not the temperature, something beneath temperature. A thinning, a withdrawal, as if something that had been pressing against you, watching you, whispering through you, suddenly steps back. You may have felt this once. You may have felt it many times and dismissed it as coincidence, as imagination, as nothing. But those who know, those who were taught in the hidden hours, recognize it immediately. It is not nothing. It is one of the 7 sensations Jesus described to those he called apart, those he trusted with what could not be written in the open texts, the sensations that signal Archon retreat, the body's confirmation that something invisible has released its grip. If you have felt even one of these, even faintly, this message was prepared for you. Stay close to what follows. What you are about to remember was never meant to be forgotten. The texts you are given are incomplete, not by accident, not through time or translation alone, by design. What was removed with intention. The councils knew, the institutions knew. Certain teachings could not survive in the hands of those who sought control over those who sought truth. And among the most carefully erased were the instructions Jesus gave about the body. Not the body as flesh to be denied, the body as instrument, as receiver, as the first and most honest witness to what moves in the unseen. He taught that the chosen ones, those aligned with the true source, would develop a sensitivity, a capacity to feel when the archons, those forces of distortion and interference, were present. And more importantly, when they withdrew. Because their retreat is not random. It happens when you remember, when you align, when you stop feeding them. You know the feeling of being watched when no one is there. You know the weight of a room that feels too heavy though nothing has changed. You know the exhaustion that has no medical cause, the thoughts that are not quite yours, the urgency that pulls you away from stillness. These are not metaphors. These are symptoms of presence. But you also know the opposite. The sudden lightness, the unexpected clarity, the sense that a door has opened in your chest and something old has finally left. You have felt this, and you were told it meant nothing. Jesus did not speak this way to crowds. He could not. The multitudes came for healings, for signs, for bread. But to the ones who stayed after, to the ones whose eyes had already changed, he spoke differently. He spoke about the mechanics of the invisible war. Not a war of swords or nations, a war of attention, a war of frequency, a war for your alignment with the source that made you or your capture by the systems that mimic it. And he gave them the 7 sensations, the 7 confirmations, the ways the body would tell them, without words, without doubt, that an Archon had released its hold. These sensations are not spiritual guesses, they are physical, tangible, repeatable. And once you know them, you will never unsee the pattern. The first sensation is the sudden drop in pressure behind the eyes. Not pain, a release, as if something that had been pressing inward, clouding your vision from within, suddenly pulls back. Your sight does not improve, but the quality of seeing changes. Colors feel less filtered, the edges of things sharpen. You blink and realize you had been looking through a veil you did not know was there. This happens in moments of true prayer, true silence, true refusal to engage with fear. The Archon that distorts perception retreats, and your inner eye clears. The second sensation is the warming of the solar plexus without external cause, a gentle heat that rises from the center of your chest just below the ribs and spreads outward like water poured into still water. It is not anxiety, it is the opposite. It is the return of your own energy that had been siphoned. The Archons feed on the emotional charge you generate through worry, through resentment, through comparison. When you withdraw that charge, when you return to stillness, they have nothing to draw from. And as they retreat, your energy returns. You feel it as warmth, as presence, as the quiet power that was always yours. The third sensation is the softening of the jaw. This one is easy to miss because tension has become your normal. But in the moment an Archon withdraws, the muscles of your face release, your jaw unclenches, Your tongue drops from the roof of your mouth. Your face feels younger, softer, as if years of invisible strain have been lifted in a single breath. Jesus taught that the face is where the Archons anchor most visibly, in the tightness, in the performance, in the mask you wear to survive their systems. When they retreat, the mask can rest. The fourth sensation is the shift in your breath. Not that you breathe deeper, but that your breath becomes effortless. You stop controlling it, you stop forcing it. The inhale arrives on its own. The exhale releases without your involvement. You realize you had been managing every breath, holding tension in your ribs, your shoulders, your throat. And now, suddenly, the breath breathes you. This is not relaxation, this is remembering. The Archons cannot survive in the presence of effortless breath. It is the signature of one who knows they are held by something greater. Place your hand on your chest now, not to control, just to witness. Feel whether your breath is yours or whether you are borrowing it from fear. The fifth sensation is the cooling of the hands, specifically the palms. In the presence of Archonic interference, your hands grow warm, sometimes hot, as energy leaks outward in all directions, scattered and unfocused. But when an Archon retreats, your palms cool. The energy stops leaking, it consolidates, it returns to your center. Your hands become still. You may notice that your fingers stop fidgeting, that you are no longer reaching for distraction, for your phone, for noise. Your hands rest, and in that rest they remember what they were made to do. To create, to bless, to heal, not to grasp. The sixth sensation is the cessation of internal noise, not the quieting of thoughts, the stopping of the voice that is not you. There's a difference between your mind and the broadcast. Your thoughts arise from your experience, your memory, your wondering, but the voice that criticizes, that rushes, that compares, that accuses, that never stops, that voice is not yours. It is Archonic. It is the frequency of separation, and when the Archon that generates it withdraws, the voice stops mid-sentence. The silence that follows is not empty, it is full. You can hear your own thoughts again, soft, slow, clear. You remember what it feels like to think without interference. The seventh sensation is the return of vertical alignment. You may not have the language for this, but your body knows. In the presence of Archonic distortion, you collapse inward. Your spine curves, your head drops forward, your chest closes. You fold into protection, into shame, into smallness. But when an Archon retreats, something ancient in your spine remembers. Your head lifts, not with effort, with inevitability. Your shoulders draw back, your chest opens. You stand as if a string from the top of your skull is being pulled gently upward by something that knows you. This is not posture, this is recognition. You are aligning with the vertical axis, the connection between Earth and Source. The Archons pull you horizontal, scattered across time, across worry, across endless doing. But your true design is vertical, rooted, rising, still. If you have felt even 3 of these sensations in a single moment, you are not imagining it. You are remembering. And if you recognize this, say it clearly. Not for me, for you. In the space below, write the words, "I have felt the retreat." Let that declaration anchor what you know. These sensations were taught because the chosen ones needed confirmation. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is trust in what the body already knows. Jesus understood that the battle for your soul would not be fought with visible weapons. It would be fought in the space between your thoughts, in the tone of your inner voice, in the quality of your attention. And he knew that you would need to recognize when you were winning, not through doctrine, through sensation, through the unmistakable shift in your own energy when the Archonic grip loosened. But here's what matters most. These sensations do not happen randomly. They are not spiritual gifts granted to the lucky few. They happen when you stop participating in the Archonic system, when you stop feeding the frequency of fear, when you withdraw your attention from the narratives designed to keep you scattered, anxious, and small. The Archons do not leave because you are strong. They leave because you have stopped giving them what they need. And the 7 sensations are your body's way of telling you, you are free. For now, in this moment, you are free. This is not the end of the teaching. This is the beginning of your sensitivity. The more you notice these sensations, the more frequently they will come. The more you trust them, the more clearly you will feel the difference between presence and interference. And there is more, much more, about what happens after the retreat, about how to extend it, about what the Archons cannot touch. But that comes next. That comes when you are ready to go deeper. If this resonates, if you felt even a flicker of recognition as these words moved through you, then stay connected. What follows is not for everyone. It is for those whose bodies have already begun to remember. You were never meant to walk this blind. You were given the 7 sensations so you would know, so you would trust, so you would recognize the moments when the invisible war shifts in your favor. And now you do. The retreat has already begun.